So I'm here at CERN at the International High School Teacher Program, and I'm going to be asking a few of my colleagues from around the world about the views of CERN and how they're going to implement what we've learned these last few days in their classrooms. So let's ask them. Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Adrian and I'm from Spain, from Madrid.
My name is Selçuk and I'm from Turkey.
My name is Anya, I'm from Poland.
I'm Stefania, I'm from Italy.
I'm Caroline from Brazil.
I'm Chris O'Connor and I'm from Brandon, Manitoba, Canada.
My name is Marita and I'm from Spain, Europe.
So hi, what's your name and where are you from?
I'm Sarah Torrey and I'm from Canada.
I'm Roni Tyke. I'm from the United States. I live in Boston right now and I teach at Somerville High School.
Rachel, and I'm from Australia.
Hi, I'm Ildiko and I'm from Hungary.
My name is Teresa Rudnick and I'm from the United States.
I'm Stratos, I'm from Greece.
My name is Stefania and I come from Italy.
I'm Matthias and I'm from Hamburg, Germany.
I'm Rahul Chatterjee and I'm from India.
I'm Megan Elward and I'm from North Carolina in the United States.
My name is Elisa, I come from Italy. My name is Catherine, I'm from China.
Hi, and what's your name and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Sadia, I'm from Pakistan.
I'm Rua Duggan and I'm from Cork in the south of Ireland, but I spent most of my life in the UK.
Hi, I'm Preeti and I'm from Sweden. I was born in India though, but I've been living in Sweden for 20 years.
Hello, I'm Rahul Chatterjee and I'm from India.
What's the one thing that really stands out to you of your experience here at CERN?
One thing, there are so many. Just the atmosphere here, that it's such an atmosphere of learning, but it's also so collegial and vibrant.
Well, besides the particle physics part, I think the international collaboration, not only the one that we see in the experiments and here at CERN, but also between us teachers.
I think that the main thing that I've taken in is just the level of collaboration here and the advancement that's brought by many different countries. Like we learned that the magnets were all built in different places and that it spans 2 borders here, and it's really cool to know that that's going on in other parts of the world.
CERN works like a puzzle, and each team works on a piece of puzzle, and then they bring all together, and the puzzle at the end works.
I think the biggest thing here is that I've learned so much from different colleagues and, from other people in their countries and seeing how they teach and learning about, what they do and what life is like over there. And
well, I enjoy so much being with all those different kind of people, like teachers from everywhere around the world. What I enjoy the most is to talk about physics and about our students all together and realize that we have the same kind of problems all the time. So yeah, that was it.
It's wonderful to be in the very place where a new physics is being doing. So I am very excited to be here among scientists that are pushing the limits of knowing forward.
I've been really excited by how much the actual scientists want to talk to us and how passionate they are about education. They've been really generous with their time.
I think the scale of not only how big the LHC is, but how encompassing CERN is just in its globality, like how big it is globally, as well as all of the collaborators that are here working together so well.
What's the one thing that you've really learned here at CERN?
Diversity. We are a lot of people from all around the world, and I think we are a great team.
So we're standing here in Auditorium 500, the main auditorium here at CERN, where the Higgs boson was announced. But what's been one highlight for you here at CERN?
Coming to CERN itself is like a dream come true for me. Being here among all the scientists, listening to those talks, and it's just amazing, The best part is that you see physics everywhere.
Well, it's really hard to pinpoint one highlight in this program because there's been so much to take back home. Whether it is just simply the amazing physics that goes on over here, top of the line physics that brings the highest laurels, the Nobel Prize, to the fantastic engineering or the computer systems or the accelerator systems. Anything that you talk about is so overwhelming and then you realize, wow.
The first word come to my mind is unbelievable. You look at CERN, they have huge machine, and for huge machine, that's tiny parts. They all put together and from different countries, design their things, and it works. It's amazing.
So many colleagues learning from them. They are so fantastic and they have so many ideas.
I think it's just the sheer exposure to all the particle physics that's going on right at the moment. That's what's really stuck in my mind.
What I liked most was when we went to a detector and to see this big thing that people can make, and it was very strange for me, and I couldn't believe that people can make such a thing.
So one thing that I love is that science is new here. Everything they do is new physics, and that phrase new physics is used in every lecture that we've attended. Most of the time what I teach with my students are stuff that's been discovered pre-1860, and so the fact that what I'm teaching is not only laying the foundation for their success, it's still the foundation of all of the new and cutting edge things that are happening right here.
If there was one thing that you would want to take back into your classroom that you've learned here at CERN, what would that be?
Oh, I want to implement so many things, but I think the thing I like the most were the labs we were doing today. Like actually you can transfer the basic knowledge about physics into a lab in the classroom and then make the connections between the higher level physics.
I've been brainstorming this thing about, I like this idea of these two experiments, like Atlas and CMS, looking at the same thing but not talking to each other and using that as a double checking, and that idea I think could translate really nicely into the classroom. So and being able to sort of have students even do to both investigating the same thing but even with different equipment and then comparing the result to see how close they get. I like that idea.
What's the one thing that you can see yourself putting into your classroom?
I'm a chemistry teacher, so the one thing that I for sure will teach in my class is about the atom subtraction.
So something the theorist said actually really stuck with me, and that was the idea that they really focus on models. So the theorists build the models, the experimentalists test the models, and then to the breaking point. And then the theorists have to come up with a new model. And model building is something that I strongly encourage my students to build on their own in my classroom. And the fact that that's still how science is done, that's just a correlation that I saw between my classroom and what's being done in the here and now.
That's cool.
I think I'll be working a little bit more with models and modeling, because a few other teachers mentioned that maybe in their countries and their lessons they already do this, and that's not something that, well, that's something that we're trying to do in Brazil and my school especially, but we're not doing as much as we could. So I think that's something that I'm going to bring into my classrooms.
I think I would really like to do some modeling of what the accelerators here are doing. I really like some of the demonstrations that we saw today with the linear accelerator for the Gauss gun kind of model, but I also like being able to take electromagnetic changes in the electromagnetic field and to put that into the motion of a particle or something. I think modeling something like that for my students would be really awesome. So I'm going to try to do that.
Awesome.
I think that one of what add on to what I said about CERN, and I'll bring back to my classroom, tell my students sometimes we'll make impossibilities into possibilities. So if they believe they can, I think they will achieve that. I think that's the mindset. And for physics, I think it's not usually students think about, if I study physics, I will do boring research or I will become a physics teacher. But if you look at here, that you can do great work and you can find what is the universe is, and we can make the world better. We can change other people's lives. It's amazing. Cool. Yeah.
I think in the junior school there are some areas that I can absolutely implement quite a bit of stuff at a lower level, even just that mindfulness of when I'm talking about a proton, that I don't call it a particle, that I call it a particle system, that I acknowledge to students that there is something smaller than the proton and the neutron, and that the electron is the only one of those three things that is this fundamental particle that we find in the standard model. And then in the senior school, it's about incorporating this ability for students to realise that that physicists don't just know the answers, you know, that we haven't figured it all out, that there's still so much more to question. So I think that's really good.
First thing is that the school physics that we teach in our classrooms, that this is also important for this modern research here at CERN. And all topics we spoke about the 2 weeks here in the high school teacher program, of course they are very difficult, but they all based on the topics we teach in our classrooms, and that's maybe also important for our students.
I think I've gotten a lot of really great ideas from some of the colleagues that I've met this past week, in particular just different ways to approach levels of questioning with students, some Socratic questioning, as well as some new ideas for some labs to include.
Cool. What's the one thing you can see yourself implementing into your classroom?
Well, in fact, today we had the final reports sessions, and where all the focus groups presented their work and what they have been doing during all these weeks. And, well, they've all done fantastically, and they have presented lots of activities that I can take directly into my classroom, as well as the activities we did during the Perimeter Institute workshop.
Oh, quite a few things actually. Right from accelerators, the technologies behind the accelerators, and why just one kind of material isn't enough, because there is such a menu of particles that are released when the collision happens, that you really require to see how the different interactions happen with different materials, and so how you're going to trap all the different particles that come out, and therefore what are the different technologies you require. Plus, talking about that, number one. Number two, the errors in the measurement. And so, though we just introduced the topic in school, the implications of that has so much to do with what we study over here. So giving them that larger picture, that look.
The ideas that Perimeter Institute gave yesterday, there were so many hands-on activities that we had done, and some of the lectures were really nice, so that I can take so many things from them as well.
One thing is the enthusiasm, because there are very big projects in the future, and so students has to be motivated. This is one of the most important things, and also not complaining anymore, because in the world there are a lot of fantastic opportunities, and knowledge is one of the most important things we have to reach.
There are many things that I'm thinking of trying and using them in my classroom, but I think that what was very interesting for me, it was something that we saw today at the school lab, where they show us few experiments that they were very interesting, and we can use them in our classroom.
What's one thing that you can see putting into your classroom?
Definitely I will use some workshops that we've done in School Lab, so that's for sure. And a lot of knowledge that I already got from all of those lectures.
I think it's sometimes quite difficult, because the syllabus in the country that you're in kind of dictates what you can do, but we've been shown really good ways that we can introduce particle physics and accelerators and detectors and stuff into areas of the curriculum that we already have to teach anyway. So rather than having to take time out at the end or trying to squeeze the curriculum and fit in extra time, we've been shown ways that we can just add in very modern physics into areas that we're already teaching, and I think that's what I'm going to take away and really try and put in the latest updates, but into areas wherever I can throughout the whole curriculum, as well as taking some time to maybe just teach about CERN whenever I get the opportunity.
Fantastic. If there was one thing you would like to tell others about CERN, whether it's to your colleagues or to your students, what would that be?
I will tell them that it will be a fantastic experience for them if they could be here, and they try to find ways with the school, with their colleagues, with their family, with their students to come here and visit CERN.
CERN is awesome. It is awesome. There are that many countries working all together, for just basic research, and that basic research will lead us somewhere else. Like we don't know the implications of this in 20 years, 50 years. So if you have the chance to come here, I will definitely come, because this is actually absolutely astonishing. So yeah, that would be.
I think all my colleagues should apply to be a part of HSD program, because I guess it's the best opportunity for teachers in the whole world. Yeah.
Come here. Apply.
And if there's one thing you would like to communicate to either to your students or to your colleagues about CERN, what would that one thing be?
Try to come here sometime. If this is not a possibility to actually come physically visit CERN, but maybe to do some research and understand some things, even if there are students or colleagues that they're not that into physics. Maybe people don't know that chemistry and ICT teachers or math teachers, they can also participate and
say do whatever it takes to get one of these, whether as a visitor or as a long-term visitor. If you get the opportunity to work in a place like this, it's just an amazing environment where there's people from all over the world working together to try and do what they can to make this a better place. And the research that they do here is absolutely mind-blowing, and you could easily spend an entire lifetime here and never get bored.
Yeah. Great.
I think for my students that they should be not afraid of moving and meeting people, meeting ideas different from theirs.
Although I'd heard about it, I hadn't really understood how truly international it is. Even though it is located in Europe, there are scientists from everywhere, and everybody is talking to everybody else, separate from their individual experiments, of course. But that international collaboration, going for the common sort of pursuit of science, and how important collaboration is, because it can be tough. And it's something that we do in our classrooms already, but to show it on a big scale and how important it is, I think that's sort of a big theme.
I'd like to share the opportunity to get more and more knowledge, and to come to open laboratory, open knowledge point where they can get a lot of new ideas, new way of thinking, open their minds, and all these things like this.
I think that my main word of advice would be make the pilgrimage out here. I think that everyone talks about this big circle that's underground out here, and you kind of get a sense that it's mysterious and unapproachable. But being out here, there's so many ways that they make it visible and hands-on and approachable that really making your way out to CERN is completely different than learning about it in a classroom or through the internet. So actually being here physically is what I would suggest.
Awesome.
I think the thing that I would most like to impress upon my colleagues and my students is that science is never really done. So a few years ago, they announced the discovery of the Higgs boson, but we're still working on making that measurement more and more precise. And as a teacher, you always feel your work as a teacher is never quite done. And for students, I think there's always that driving feeling that you can always do something a little bit more, or where's that path going to lead you? So I think always being excited about your goals and when you meet them, but always looking to the horizon for something new.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Stratos.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks. Thank you. CERN really accelerates science. It's not fighting. Because here is really good works for humanity.
I would tell them that if they want to be in the forefront of what's happening in science, what's happening, how we are unveiling through the universe and how we are discovering all those mysteries, this is the place that they are supposed to be here. I mean, this is the playground for them. If they are curious to know all the big questions, all the answers to the big questions, so they must be here at CERN.
What's the one thing you would like to tell your students or your colleagues about CERN?
Oh, you have to go there. You have to go there, and you have to share your knowledge. You have to learn there. You have to do as much as possible for the future.
To the colleagues, I would say come to CERN. it's the best way to get information, to communicate with people from all over the world, and it's the best seminar or course I've ever done. To the students, I would say learn physics, because physics is so interesting. There are so many open questions.
So there is a huge myth of the lone white guy in a lab coat in a science lab. That is not how science works. Everywhere we've been, every office I've looked into, there's been at least 2 or more people working together. Science is about collaboration, and even if you're not in the same room, the internet has made the world a much smaller place, and so we're now able to do international collaborations. Either way, it's always about working together for the greater scientific world.
Oh, hard work pays. Absolutely, and there is no substitute to hard work. Just slog, it's going to work.
Well, for my colleagues and for my students, I would tell them that particle physics is cool, and there's a way to introduce modern physics and the physics that researchers are doing now into the classroom. And to my friends, well, it's basically the same. Study particle physics, get interested into the topic, and, I don't know, come to CERN.
I always talk about to my students and my colleagues, you must be open-minded because this is part of the nature of science. It involves itself because with new discoveries, new findings, we'll find that what we believe is correct may not be correct in the near future. Yeah, I think it must be open-minded.
Try hard and do come to CERN. It's so amazing. It's so lively. It's wonderful, and it's I would call a mecca for physicists.
I would just say definitely come here if you ever get the opportunity. Come on a day visit or a half-day visit, or if you get the chance to come for a longer period of time, definitely just take it, because this environment is just so incredible. There are so many people from all over the world. It's been a real party environment, which has surprised me, and I think would surprise all my students that there's
music in the background.
Yeah, that there's
That's
music
right.
going on every night, and there are there's loads of sports, there are loads of activities going on, and I think it would change their idea of science and what scientists do. And of course they're working at this very high level as well, but there's a really good sense of a work-life balance and just real interest and passion for what they're doing, and I think that just come and see it for yourself. I don't think you can put it across in a video or in words. You have to see it for yourself.
Awesome. Thanks very much. If there was one thing you would like to share, let's say to your colleagues or to your students, sort of an impression in one sense, or words of wisdom, what was the one thing you would like to share about CERN?
Come here. Come here. It is fantastic.
Fantastic.